Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Hello and welcome to another edition of C2C Rankem, brought to you by Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I'm the host, Big B. And guys, I know he looks a little different today. Halfway around the world is Primus Tim Hendricks. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing really good. Yeah, I look different. I have a meeting tomorrow at the United States Consulate in Milano, so I kind of had to clean up a bit.
All right. And today I should say, got a little mega show. We're going to call it a little 2 shows in one because we missed 4th of July. So I hope everybody had a safe 4th of July. So we decided to do a little extra today. So we will be going a little longer today. So, all right. So let's get into our topics that we had set up for the 4th of July. Let's start with the Billboard song. Number 1 Billboard songs. I don't know if we found them on 4th of July. I couldn't. So it'll be interesting to see what our topics are. But I kind of tied the USA into it. So, Tim, let's go to your number 5.
I went with I think I just went with number 1 songs that were on the 4th of July, not about the 4th of July, so we might not even be
we might not.
We might not even be in the same ballpark.
No.
I went with my number 5 is a song that has been, I believe, being sued right now for some type of plagiarism or some type of copyright infringement or something along the lines. But yeah. But it's one of those songs that you hear that's catchy, and I remember hearing it for the first time, and it's been stuck in my head for, I want to say now, almost 10 years. And that's and it's weird because I never realized that Alan Thicke had a son until this song, and with Robin Thicke, but it also had, I want to say it had T.I. and Pharrell, and that's Blurred Lines.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we're gonna be way off, I think.
Yeah, way off.
So my number 1 Billboard song, I found a different song. This person would not be on there, but it's Miley Cyrus, "Party in the USA." I mean, catchy tune, but we all know how Miley is. So, all right, you're number 4.
Yeah. We're not gonna have
way
any.
off, yeah.
We're not gonna have any. My number 4. Truthfully, if this song came out, if this song never came out, I don't think we ever hear of Katy Perry. I don't think we ever see her on America's Got Talent or whatever she's on now. She doesn't do a Super Bowl show. She doesn't do anything, and that's and I can honestly say I have done what she has done in this song. And and if you've watched any of our other shows, now I can legally do that in some states. And that's "I Kissed a Girl" by Katy Perry.
That is a good one, yes. My number 4 is Kanye West, "American Boy." I don't think I've heard it, but it came up on my list. So, all right, you're number 3.
I don't think I've heard of it either.
Yeah.
I could have. And the funny thing is, the first thing on the list I saw were, when I looked it up, I went, "Oh yeah, I could have done." I had 5 songs I could have taken right off the top and had no problems, because I know I missed Lee Greenwood. I know I missed a whole bunch. I remember Night Moves days. For those who don't remember, who don't know us personally, we met each other at Night Moves, where Big B was was a DJ and I was security back in my younger days when I had probably about the same amount of hair, which is weird. But I remember TLC, and I this is one of those songs that I remember, and it's funny because it keeps getting brought up in different shows, and it always brings me back. I keep watching We're the Millers, where it gets brought up in the RV.
Oh,
That's Waterfalls by TLC.
that was actually a pretty good song. I like that one. My number 3. Gotta go with there's gonna be a couple classics here, but I like this group, the Beach Boys, and if you're talking about U.S. songs, 4th of July-ish songs, Surfing in the USA, gotta have it.
So
you're number 2.
Yeah, I like that song. That's a really good song. I really like the Beach Boys. I think, and I'm going to say this, I think Beach Boys today are really understated. I think they're really, I think I think they don't get the credit, and I think they got a lot of stuff that should stand the test of time. So I don't.
Well, I think,
but that's my number 2. Matter of fact, you've had on lists before.
Oh, okay.
I've got the pop version, not the John Michael Montgomery version. The number 1 song in Billboard back then was All for One. That's I Swear.
Yep. And if I remember right, that's probably the only song that came out the same year or a year after, but they both made it to number 1, I think.
Yeah.
And they actually 2020 or 19, somewhere in that area, those guys got together and they did a collaboration of that song. So, my number 2 is Katie Smith's "God Bless America." I mean, talk about 4th of July, why not? So, you're number 1.
Again, Night Moves. And I saw this on the list, and I saw this as it was a number 1 on Billboard during the 4th of July, and I went, this had to be number 1, because if I didn't put this number 1, I wasn't doing anybody any favors. And truthfully, this is the only song I believe that he's famous for, and that's Sir Mix-a-Lot. And I didn't realize that it went number 1, but when I saw it went number 1, I had to put it on my list at number 1, and that's Baby Got Back.
Yeah. That's the only song I could think that I know he's done others, but I think that's the only one that he's known for. My number 1 comes from the boss, Bruce Springsteen's "Born in the USA." So, again, we knew we were going to be off once we started talking, but. Well, let's get into something that we're going to have some competition here and get back our numbers. Let's go number 1 movies that came out on 4th of July. Now, this was a pretty easy one to research.
Yeah.
So I will start because we know how we like sniping each other. So
how many do you think you've?
Honestly, by looking at the list I found, we could go 4 for 5. I think my number 5 is going to be your curveball, but we should at least have the top 2 for sure.
Okay.
But
top 2 somewhere. Top 2 somewhere.
We could possibly go 4.
Okay.
But my number 5 came out in 1999, and I kind of wish this show would make another one because I thought it was hilarious. It kind of got me watching the TV show a little bit. That South Park's Bigger, Longer, and Uncut came out on 4th of July.
I'm gonna tell you, that's your curveball.
Yep, I knew it was. So
my yeah, no, because no.
All right, you're number 5.
I saw that and I went, no. Technically, I could have added that on there and lumped 4, 5, and 6 together.
Oh.
Which is really, really, really weird. I could have lumped 1 and 2, then went 3, then lumped 4, 5, and 6 together because they all have a theme for some
Yeah,
really
okay.
weird reason.
I
You
was kind
understand
of
it?
thinking of lumping a couple together too, but let's see what you got here. Number 5.
My number 6 is Spider-Man: Far From Home. That's the one that just came out. That's the one that came out 5 years ago. But I went with Andrew Garfield, and I went with The Amazing Spider-Man. I like it. To me, I think he's a better Peter Parker than, which is going to be really funny when you see my number 4. I think he's a better Peter Parker than Tobey Maguire, but
Well, if that's the case, if you've already hinted to your number 4, then we don't have 4 because my number 4 is an iconic baseball movie. It came out in 1992. It starred a lot of people from Tom Hanks to Gina Davis to Madonna to Rosie O'Donnell. That's League of Their Own.
yeah, no, we're not going to have 4.
All right.
My as I've already alluded to my number 4. This is a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I think he's a better Spider-Man than Peter Parker, and that's Spider-Man 2.
Okay. My number 3, they actually just did a part 2 of this one a couple years ago, which wasn't too bad for being how far apart these movies are. But it starred 2 people that played like 600 different roles in it. I mean, and if you guys know what I'm talking about, it's 1988's Coming to America. Not even gonna have 3.
I'm gonna have 3.
All right, you're number 3.
Not even gonna have 3. My number 3 is the reason why we have July 4th, because the name is in the title. The movie that put to me personally, think the movie that put Will Smith on the Hollywood map, and not everything else that everybody says, which is funny because of my next 2. And the funny thing is, I used to go to Tampa Bay Rays games, and at the bottom of the ninth, if the Tampa Bay Rays were late, were down and they were losing, they always did the Bill Pullman speech just before they go and fight.
Oh,
and it's amazing, I've never seen a fan base go completely rabid like I do with the Rays, which is really weird because they don't put a lot of people in the
30 of you guys would go.
Yeah, all 30 of us were there. And I tell you, it's probably one of the most amazing speeches that I've seen in a movie, and that's Independence Day.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think yes, he had Fresh Prince of Bel-Air TV show, but I think that's the movie that I think you're right that got him on the map. My number 2 is another Will Smith movie. They used to call it July Smith Day or Will 4th Day or something like that, because he always came out with movies on, and that's Men in Black that came out in '97. So, you're number 2.
You didn't snipe me yet. Yet. My number 2 is a Will Smith movie. Yours is Men in Black 1. Mine is Men in Black 2.
Oh, over Men in Black 1. Okay. All right.
I didn't say. I didn't say that.
Well, my number 1 is your number 3. I had it on there. 1 because it has Independence right in it, but I think it's one of Will Smith's best movies. They put him definitely on the map. So Independence Day. You're number 1.
My number 1 is, again, this is C2C. If it's not C2C, we're not sniping. If it's not sniping, we're watching the wrong show. My number 1 is your number 2.
Yeah.
Again, it's not 4th of July unless it's Will Smith Day. And to me, I love
3 or 4 straight years that he released a movie out on 4th of July.
He had I think he had Men in Black. He had Independence Day. Then he had Men in Black. Then he had.
Maybe it's just
He had 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I think at one point he had 4, and I think Ali was part of that. Was what came out on 4th of July later, but I can't quite remember. But yeah, if it didn't come out July 4th weekend, it wasn't a Will Smith movie.
Yeah. Exactly. So we did 2. Not the 2 I thought, but actually 2 I thought, but you had Independence Day as number 3.
Yeah.
So, all right, and yeah, I mean, I thought about putting Men in Black 1 and 2 together, So
Yeah, I did too.
all right, so let's go to July 4th historical events. So this was pretty interesting to see. I don't know which way we're going. I'm gonna say 2 at that.
You're gonna say 2?
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2 because there's a lot that went on. I mean,
There was a ton of stuff that went on.
And I know, knowing you as a historian of the 2, that's why I'm going 2. Because if not, I'd go 0 because I don't think we're going to play. So, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking. I'm gonna say 2, 3 on the far outside.
Yeah,
as Bob Euchre says in Major League, just a bit outside.
Yeah, we're going way outside if we go 3. I could see it, but
it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, exactly. Because there was a lot that if you looked up. So go ahead with your number 5.
My number 5. And I can honestly say I've seen the monument for this, and it's a beautiful monument. And the funny thing is to find out that they actually had to take the picture twice, which is even funnier because I think every time you see the picture of this event, it's the first time, and they said no, we need to memorialize this better, so do it again. And that's the raising. Yeah, that's me in bed. That's a Four Bros topic. That's later on this week. But it's the raising of the flag at Iwo Jima.
Wow, they had to do that picture twice, really? Because here's the whole story behind that.
Well, no, the thing is, it's like they were all Marines, right?
Yeah.
My brother knows the story a lot better because he's a Marine, and they didn't like the fact is that it was all Marines trying to lift the flag up. So they wanted to get it. One thing was originally it was all Marines that lifted the flag, and then they wanted to change it, and they didn't have a camera ready. So when they did it, they ended up having a guy from the Army, and I want to say it was a member of the Navy, all lifting that flag up. And that flag, and matter of fact, that flag and that memorial is in Arlington. And in Arlington Cemetery.
Oh, that's iconic. That's an iconic.
It is.
Image is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So my number 5. I know I've read the story, but I did not know that there was multi editions and stuff like that. But in 1865, the first edition of Alice's Adventure in Wonderland was published. Might be a curveball, but so really? All right, you're number 4.
I thought that. I'll be honest. I thought that was my curveball, which is really weird. My number 4. Everybody remembers that we got this beautiful, 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 beautiful statue from France, which was a gift from France. And the funny thing is, there's a smaller version in Paris.
Yep.
I don't think many people know that. The funny thing is, my wife and my stepdaughter are going to Paris in August. Hopefully I can get them to take a picture of the smaller version.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Hopefully they can get me a picture of the Eiffel Tower while they're there. Hopefully, knowing her, she's good. She'll be able to do that for me. But the Statue of Liberty was presented to the United States on July 4th.
Yep.
Curveball.
All right. My number 4 is your number 5 right off the bat. Yeah, yeah, the raising of the flag on Iwo Jima. I had to put it up there. I should have probably had it up higher, but I'm surprised you had it at number 5.
Oh, there's yeah.
I can't wait to hear the top 3. So you're number 3.
My number 3 is your number 5. I saw that and I'm like, no, there's no way he's gonna put that on there. And it's weird. There's no way I figured you were gonna put that on there. And the funny thing is, and I read and I know the site that you got your information from, because so you saw it like I did. I think it was like 3 years before he had told the story to the family before writing it down.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
On July 4th, which is even funnier because he wrote it. He wrote it 3-4 years. He started writing it 3-4 years earlier, and then he published it. But yeah, Alice Adventures in Wonderland is published on July 4th. I thought that was amazing. I had to put that on.
Number 3 for me. I didn't really get the whole caption, but just because of what happened, I definitely had this up there. 1966, the Beatles get attacked in the Philippines on July 4th for some lyrics racist against.
They didn't like Yellow Submarine.
I don't know which song, but they made some comments, I guess, so they got attacked. So your number, let's see, you started. So number 2.
My number 2, which is funny because my number 2 was started by a person who will show up later up on this list and on another list further down. This is funny because which is even funnier because of this, at the time the country had doubled in size after this had happened, and it's Thomas Jefferson announces the Louisiana Purchase to the public on July 4th.
Yeah, I did see that one. All right, my number 2, going a little sports here. In 1905, 2 Hall of Fame pitchers dueled in a 20-inning game between the A's and the Boston Red Sox. Waddle versus Cy Young. I don't know if they pitched the whole 20. I didn't look, but
who was the one from not Cy Young?
Rube Waddle, Wadderl.
Okay,
I know you're a big fan of his. You got his rookie card. I know. So.
No, I've got a Christy Matheson, but I don't have a Rube. I had to figure out who it was. But yeah,
I'll have to look and see. I meant to look to see if they actually pitched the whole 20 innings because that would be something.
Knowing them,
they probably did.
Probably happy.
Yeah. So, all right, you're number 1.
My number 1. This was, to me, I saw this and I had it originally at my number 5, and I'm thinking, no, this is with everything that I've already said between 4 through 2 or 5 through 2, I thought they were important, but the number 1 seems to be more of what points to the future. Yeah, I know it's history, but it seems more like this is more of a future type of thing. And on July 4th, the rover Pathfinder landed on Mars.
Okay. All right. Because my number 1 is your number 4. So we did get 3. So yeah, the presenting of the Statue of Liberty to the United States in 1884. Could you see that coming over on a ship?
They brought it over by parts. That would have been weird, but yeah, they brought that over by parts.
Well, I guarantee they brought it over by parts, but could you see that whole thing just floating across the river, the ocean?
The ocean?
Or being tied to like a helicopter or airplane and being flown over.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be kind of a cool moment to go back in time and see. So
yeah, that'd be cool to see.
Eric here, a lot of parts, he says. So Tim Henderson's fan club starting to pop up. So let's go with since we're talking July 4th, let's go with players that wore the number 4. this one's going to be interesting because I didn't realize there's a lot of great players that wore number 4. So
Yeah, I didn't either. But
um,
go ahead. I'll leave it up to the sports guy.
we could go all 5. I mean,
No,
we're not.
no. I feel we don't. I really feel we don't.
Yeah, we should
might
have 3
go-
for sure.
We'll go 3. I think our
What's
top 3. We may have our top
Ooh.
3. My curveball. You might have my curveball just because of who it is.
Oh yeah.
So
I think I got one of 2 that I can.
one
go
of
with.
2 of my curveballs. You think I got one? You boy, you
Well,
know
I think I got
curveballs.
I got 2 names that can be one of your curveballs.
Yep.
Which I'm going to start with. So my number
Good.
5, I got a pair of people because I know one, you're a fan of the team, and if I remember right, when this other guy got drafted, you like lost your crap when he got drafted to the Warriors. And I'm going to go with Adam Vinatieri and Chris Webber at number 5. So
Yeah.
you're number 5.
I saw the Chris Webber one, and when he went to the Warriors, I was kind of not happy. No, he didn't go to the Warriors. He got drafted by the Kings, then got traded to the Warriors.
Yeah, that's right. The guy Kings. Yeah, I remember you losing your.
That was the Kevin Garnett draft, wasn't it?
Yep. I believe it was. Yeah.
Here's
All
my
right, you're number
curveball. Obviously, at this point, it's now my number 4 is no longer a curveball. My number 5. People who know me know I'm a fan. But I'm also one of the reasons why my team went to the World Series in '83. I believe. For some reason, I can't remember this because I know they played the stupid St. Louis flipping Cardinals, and he's one of the reasons why they went to the World Series. But he ends up leaving my beloved Milwaukee Brewers, goes to the Toronto Blue Jays, wins a World Series and wins the World Series MVP with the Toronto. No. Did he win he won. I know he won a World Series in '93.
Yeah.
But that wasn't with your Twins.
No. Oh, we
No,
haven't been
so
there
it was
since
the Blue
91.
Jays.
That was the Blue
That
Jays.
was the Blue Jays. That was the Blue Jays. Wins the World Series MVP with the Blue Jays. Then goes home. I always thought home for him was going to be Milwaukee, but didn't realize he was from the state to the west. Until you told me he was from the state from the west, and goes and plays for the Minnesota Twins. I've been lucky enough to see him play for my Milwaukee Brewers, and that's Paul Molitor.
Well, it wouldn't be C2C without a snipe right away. Got to put the hometown kid in there. Number 4, Paul Molitor. Yeah, he's been all over the place. I think
he's only been
he either got his 3,000 hit with the Twins or against the Twins.
With the Twins. I think it was with the Twins.
Okay. Which is kind of ironic because he was a pretty good hitter throughout his career.
Yeah.
And he came to the Twins after the Blue Jays.
Yep.
So,
he left Milwaukee. He left Milwaukee and then went to Toronto, and I was not the world's happiest Brewers fan. And
yeah. So yeah, my number 4 is your number 5, Mr. Paul Molitor. You're number 4.
Which is kind of funny because it's not C2C unless we've sniped. And my number 4 is half your number 5. And me being a Colts fan,
Yep.
Adam Vinatieri.
Yep. Yeah, I actually Molitor I was going to put on there. But those 3, I was like, Tim's going to have at least 2 of these on there, maybe all 3. So my number 3, never got to see the guy play because I wasn't born yet. But to be able to have your number retired on July 4th, wearing number 4 in 1939, that's Lou Gehrig. So, yeah, kind of ironic that they honored him on July 4th while he wore number 4. So, Lou Gehrig, you're number 3.
My number 3. We don't talk about hockey much on this on this show, and that's a shame because I absolutely love hockey. I truthfully, if I didn't play football, I would have loved to have played goalie
if I would have been able to skate, I would have liked to play.
Yeah, that's the other problem. I didn't. I wasn't. That's why I would have been playing goalie because I wouldn't have had to move from the net.
Yeah.
They would have had to push me to the net just so I could stay there. But to me, this isn't even. And I don't care if people out there are Ray Bourque fans. I don't care. But to me, the greatest Boston Bruin of all time wore number 4. And that's the great Bobby Orr.
Yeah. So my number 2, like you said it before, if it's not C2C, without getting sniped, we're getting sniped. My number 2 is Bobby Orr. I can't disagree with you that, I'm not much of a Brewers expert, but Bobby Orr to me is Boston Bruin hockey. So you're number 2.
I'm gonna say I know what it's like right now with MLB. You don't speak of a no-hitter and you don't speak of a perfect game. I'm feeling very good that we're gonna have a perfect game, and I think this is the first time in C2C history I think we've ever approached something like this.
Possibly. I think we might have gotten one other 5 for 5, but
okay. My number 2 holds a distinction in the NFL of having his first pass completion go for a touchdown to himself, to have his last game as an Atlanta Falcon be his last pass as an Atlanta Falcon be an interception, his last pass as a Green Bay Packer as an interception. His last pass as a New York Jet as wait, you're going to start thinking this is a broken record. An interception. And the last passes, and I'm sorry to tell you this, for the Minnesota Vikings was an interception. The only person in NFL history to play for 4 teams and their last pass is an interception. And that's Brett Favre.
Yep. Yeah. My number 1, you're number 2. The guy, I don't know how he could have played so many games. I know how, because he said that it wasn't for painkillers. But to be able to play that many games in a row, not to miss a game, to be traded after, 2 games in Atlanta and become a Hall of Fame quarterback because Mike Holmgren wanted him in Green Bay after leaving Atlanta. And then to come and play for Minnesota his last 2 years. And a lot of people here are still kind of butthurt that they believe he cost us the game against the Saints to take us to the Super Bowl, which I doubt that. But, yeah, number 4, Brett Favre. Everybody calls him by number 4. So you're number 1.
My number 1, again, I think he's officially your number 3, which is really weird because, but the man the man had a record. It's weird that Cal Ripken, a man we spoke about in the backstage, Cal Ripken breaks his record. Yep. And if it wasn't for an illness, how long would a Lou Gehrig streak actually went?
Yep.
It's amazing to see what that man did. And even after everything, and to me, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent because they say ALS can be triggered by concussions. Who's this? They never really kept track of concussions back in the day, back in '90 and back in the '30s. Who's to say that Lou Gehrig's wasn't triggered by maybe a form of CTE to give him his ALS?
Yep.
And I stand beside that concussions, and he took a lot of shots that if he had taken the shots to the head, maybe that's what caused it. But I think we got screwed, literally screwed on how long Lou Gehrig could have played. I think I think the Yankees would have been even bigger, better if Gehrig had played longer, which is kind of weird to say because the Yankees were the Yankees. But yeah, I see Lou Gehrig, and Lou Gehrig's on my list at number 1 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I after putting the list together, I was like, God, those top 3 I could have went any order. But yeah, we went 5 for 5 as Eric pointed out. I believe we've done that before, but I could be wrong. And I know we've done a lot of 4 for 5s. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's go into our last July 4th topic.
Which one did you go with? Okay, I'm going to ask this question knowing full well that
Death.
Oh, we went deaths. Okay, so we didn't. Okay,
We
so
didn't do the TV shows.
I know I did birthdays.
Oh, I didn't know we did birthdays. I didn't.
No, that's cool. No, it's good. It's good.
Because you said we already did it on a previous show. So
Yeah.
All right. So as always, we kind of point out deaths, people that we lost. I mean, sad moment, but should recognize them a little bit. So July 4th, people that passed away on July 4th. Man, number 1 should be a slam dunk, I think. But I'll say we got 2.
I think we've got
maybe with a stretch at 3. I won't go into more than 3.
3. I've got a couple curveballs.
I got 1 too.
I've got funny things. I'm looking at 8 names on my list, and I could go curveball.
All right. Well, why don't you start with number 5 then?
All right, I'll start with, and the funny thing is, I'll start with a curveball because I figured you wouldn't do this. You and I are wrestling fans.
Yep.
I'd be laughing my ass off right now if you told me this is your curveball.
Okay.
Back in the day, I want to say the 70s, there was a very flamboyant wrestler.
Yeah.
Not that one. he's not Goldust, and I love Goldust to death, but Goldie's still much alive. But he was a bigger guy, and it was really, really weird when I like, this guy's a wrestler, and I'm not. And again, no, it's not Dusty Rhodes, because Dusty, I think, died in March. And I didn't realize he was young when he died, which makes it even weirder. Because he died in the 80s, but he was huge in the 70s, and that was Adrian Adonis.
Really? Okay, I must have missed that one. When you started talking flamboyant, I thought you were talking about Gorgeous George there for a second. So
the which Gorgeous George, the female wrestler, or
there's a guy wrestler.
Oh yeah. No, I think Adrian Adonis and Gorgeous George, I think, were the same person.
Were they? Maybe. I can't remember.
So. But yeah, he died like 86 or 87. He was only in his 30s.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I'm like, you're kidding me.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll look that up, but you might be right. They might be the same person. My number 5, I believe, was an analyst for ESPN. And that's Hank Goldberg.
I saw that name. Do you know the funny thing is?
Yeah.
He was born on the 4th of July too.
Was he?
Yep.
Okay.
I saw that. I'm like, okay, Hank Goldberg. I should really put that on because I remember him. And then all of a sudden, it was like, all of a sudden I looked at the deaths and I'm like, wait, there's Hank Goldberg again. I'm like, that can't be the same guy. And then to find out it was the same guy. So yeah, it's weird.
All right, your number, where are we at? 4.
My number 4. All right, my number 4. I remember this quarterback. Gorgeous George and Adrian Adonis were the same person?
Oh.
Okay, cool. My number 4 we're NFL fans, right? I
Yep.
think. Okay. I'll be honest. If it wasn't for this quarterback, I don't think we would ever heard of Acorn State or Alcorn State. And I think he was the first quarterback in the NCAA's to throw for 3,000 or rush for 1,000. And then he gets drafted by the Houston Oilers. To me, I still think outside of Warren Moon, I still think the best quarterback and I know they had Archie Manning, but I'm still, to me, to this day, I think that organization's second best quarterback is going to be and will always be Steve McNair.
Okay. My number 4.
I didn't even think that was going to be a curveball.
No, it's not.
Okay.
My number 4 is my curveball because I'm going to go with the French soccer player, Georges Breta, Breta is who I got as my number 4. Why not
Exactly.
soccer?
No, I agree completely with Jackson. What Jackson said in the background, I completely agree. I don't know why. I'm afraid about that one too.
Now they're playing Fortnite or something.
Oh, well, shoot.
They're number 3.
He's lucky that he doesn't hear what I say playing Fortnite. Another curveball. Matter of fact, I think they just got done doing a documentary where Owen Wilson plays this man in a biopic, a documentary style biopic. I think it might be called Happy Little Trees. I remember watching him on PBS, and he was always this happy-go-lucky guy, and had the fro for a white man. The only person I know is a white man that had a fro, and everybody knew exactly who I was talking about, and painted happy little trees with happy little mountains and happy little clouds, and that's Bob Ross.
Okay. Yeah, that's a curveball. Yeah, I got you on that one. My number 3 is your number 4. I agree with you. One of the Houston Oilers, Tennessee Titans, greatest quarterbacks. I know Warren Moon's there, but you don't get Aaron McNair. You don't get a lot of these running quarterbacks, big running quarterbacks. McNair wasn't a small guy either. Lost way too soon. And I think that was a downside of Vince Young's tenure because him and McNair are really close. I think when he passed, I think that took something out of Young. So yeah, Steve McNair, number 3. You're number 2.
My number 2 died hours. I can't remember if it was before or after my number 1, which is strange when you find this out. But he's also one of the original signers of the Declaration of Independence. Not related to Sam Adams, so no, he wasn't the guy who made the beer, and no, wasn't one of the guys who was pushing for. Sam Adams was the guy who was pushing in Massachusetts for the revolution, and so was my number 2, John Adams.
All right, my number 2, probably one of the iconic voices and music, and that's Barry White. So you're number 1.
He was number 7 on my list of 8. I said I could have went curveball.
Yeah. Number 1.
My number 1, I kind of referenced to him earlier in our historical events. One of the authors. Matter of fact, the second John Adams was one of the authors of the Declaration of Independence. The other author is my number 1, and that's Thomas Jefferson.
I had them both at number 1. I mean, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams. I mean, you know, I just think, like you said, died hours from each other
Apart.
I mean,
yeah,
that's just iconic. But so,
and the funny thing is, did you ever hear the story about those two? And it's really weird because those two didn't talk after. I think it was like after Adams had left office, and they never talked. And it happened to be like the day before I think Adams had sent the letter to Jefferson and apologized and apologized for having their falling out after. I can't remember which one. I think Jefferson was 4 and Adams was 2, and I can't and I can't remember if it was after Adams's time in office, and he had Adams had, I want to say it was Adams had sent Jefferson an apology the day before, and he had read Adams and Jefferson had read the apology, and they both died the next day.
That just tells you life is just too short to hold grudges, I guess. So
yeah.
So all right. So normally we'd be wrapping it up, but like I said at the beginning, we got a little mega show today because we're going to touch on some all-star moments. Today is the MLB All-Star Game, which probably nobody's going to watch because it's one of the most. It's true to its game, but it takes forever because they try to get everybody in, which is nice and all, but it doesn't really mean anything anymore like it used to.
Well, it did up until it wasn't anything, and then all of a sudden they had that tie in Milwaukee, and Selig kind of screwed it up.
But yeah, it did mean nothing beforehand because it was always, if the American League hosted the All-Star Game, National League started the World Series. But yeah,
right.
Once they had the tie in Milwaukee, then it was, it means something now. And
right.
So, but this first category, I'm kind of interested to see which way you went. Because you texted me and said All-Star break moment. So I'm kind of interested to see which way you went because I went with All-Star moments. So
I did too.
Okay.
I went All-Star. Right. I went All-Star game moments.
All right, cool. All right, so in that case, I say we got 2, maybe 3. I'll stretch it to 3, but I think we got 2 for sure.
I think we go. I think 3 with an outside 4, maybe.
Okay.
3. I think 3.
All right, I will start. My number 5, and actually, this pitcher has done this twice to different people. And I think both of the batters, swapped sides so they wouldn't see another pitch. And that's Randy Johnson. The one I wrote down was Randy Johnson throwing over John Kruk's head. And I know he did it to Larry Walker, and I think they both –
the year after.
Yeah, and I think they both flipped and went back to the right side. No, Walker went up, batted right-handed.
And turned his helmet around.
Yeah. And batted right-handed. So, yeah, Randy Johnson throwing at John Kruk. You're number 5.
Did you think that was that your curveball?
Not really a curveball, but
because mine, ladies and gentlemen, if you've watched this, the motto of C2C is it's not C2C unless somebody snipes something, and to do it on the first one is probably more rare than Randy Johnson in a game throwing behind John Kruk. Yeah. My number 5 is your number 5.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see where we go because there's quite a few moments. So my number 4. Speaking of the Milwaukee tie game, this happened in Milwaukee in '99. And that was, as a matter of fact, I think if I recall, I think the announcers kind of called this one because they were saying that, it'd be iconic if Barry Bonds hits a home run and gets robbed, and then Torrey Hunter goes and does that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So my number 4 is Torrey Hunter robbing Barry Bonds of a home run. And if I remember right, there was a logo behind it which had a baseball player, and I think Hunter landed like right on top of that logo. As he was stretching for the home run. So you're number 4.
Yeah, I think that's the old Milwaukee Brewers barrel man, where it looks like he's swinging. Yeah, there's that back on that field, out on that side at Miller Park.
Yep.
We didn't snipe this time. We're good. My number 4. There are a lot of iconic home runs that happen in in All-Star games. Everybody remembers Bo Jackson's home run in the bottom. I want to say the bottom of the first. And the home runs that have ended games in the All-Star game. But there's always got to be a first.
Yep.
And I can't remember the year because for my dumbass didn't write down the year. But Fred Lynn, I believe he was with the Red Sox at the time, hits the first grand slam in All-Star game history. I think it was like 78 or 79.
Okay, you went that route. Okay, thought you're going with another home run that was iconic, and I didn't even write down those ones. My number 3, we see it every year at this time. Iconic footage. I think there's been pictures posted. I think even at a World Series time, and kind of part of the game I think is missing, even though I understand why they got rid of it. And that is when Pete Rose is coming around third base and just runs right through the catcher, Ray Foss, and puts him on his neck, pretty much on his head, if I remember right. But yeah, Pete Rose coming around third in the All-Star game just spears him pretty much. So you're number 3.
My number 3, you went Minnesota Twins on 4. I went kind of Minnesota Twins on 3. But I didn't go Torrey Hunter.
Okay.
I went with somebody who's it's only happened once in All-Star game history. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, was the hitting coach in Milwaukee under who's he on the hitting coach under? Who was that? Flower? It's under Davey Lopes. I want to say it was Lopes. And he's the only person to ever hit 2 triples in an All-Star game. And he did it as a Minnesota Twin. And that's Rod Carew.
Yeah, Rod Carew was, I saw that. I saw something about Rod Carew doing something. I didn't read it. But yeah, he can fly. My number 2, we talk about moments, and one guy has now got a bad rap thinking, because of PhDs and stuff like that. We were waiting for a comment like this to come up on the show, but yeah, that is yeah. Well, we had to get him on 4 Bros, Jason, to talk about this. But anyways, my number 2, Alex Rodriguez was selected to start the All-Star game at shortstop. It was Cal Ripken's last All-Star game, and Rodriguez came up with the idea of flip-flopping and pretty much had to push Cal Ripken over to play shortstop. So Cal Ripken moving to short to start the game at number 2. Your number 2.
This will help you make you feel a whole lot better that we have at least 2. Your number 4 with Mr. Pete Rose, absolutely putting Ray Fosse in a coma at home. Yeah, that's my number 2, because every time I see that, every time they show Pete Rose, the first thing they show is basically Ray Fosse going into the retirement home after that game, and it was like, holy smokes. I'm like, he's Charlie Hustle, but dude, it's the All-Star game. You didn't need to kill him, and it's the 12th inning. I understand it, but you didn't really need to separate.
That's how he got his name, was Charlie Hustle. I don't. The thing is back then the All-Star game kind of meant something for each player. It's an All-Star game, it's an exhibition game, but you still got to play hard. I give props to Pete Rose for playing hard, but yeah, again, I just I cringe every time I see that. Eric's wondering, and I've asked this too.
I did not lose a bet. I explained this at the beginning of the show. I have a meeting at the consulate tomorrow. We're good.
All right. So that was number 2. My number 1, again, another iconic moment, I think, and I think it was the 70th All-Star game, and they're saluted a lot of players, and I think it was one of his last public appearances too. That's Ted Williams getting chauffeured around Fenway Park. So you're number one.
I like that one. I wish I saw that one very late, and I respect it, and I think and he passed, and the thing is, I think Ted, if I'm not remembering the story right, is that I don't even want to look at it.
Yeah, probably.
It grows back fast. I'm like a werewolf. I'm like Michael J. Fox on Teen Wolf. It grows back quick.
Yeah. You're number one.
But I remember Ted Williams. Ted Williams had he passed away at North Florida. At North Florida Regional Medical Center in Gainesville. I think he had passed away just before my mom started working there, which was really, really weird. Yeah. So, but my number one is as iconic as yours. Don't get me wrong. I think yours is iconic. And I know people are going to go, yeah, Tim, it's so iconic. It's not even on your list. Yeah, I get that.
We always miss something.
We always miss one. Not as much as missing Willie Mays, or not Willie Mays, but I missed Muhammad Ali. I missed Muhammad Ali 2 weeks ago. You missed Tony Quinn.
You missed.
I missed his death month.
Birthday.
I missed that one's terrible. That one was bad. Back in, I want to say 1933. No, he's not coming back. No, he's not coming back. They broke his. When they took him out of North Florida Regional Medical Center. When they did it, they snapped his head off his body. When they moved him and they cryogenically froze him, they snapped his head off his body. He's not coming back. There used to be a pitcher back in the day named Carl Hubble. Carl Hubble is famous for one thing in All-Star game history. He is the only person to do this in order. He's the only person to strike out Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Mel Ott, Simmons, and Cronin in order. He struck out the side, and the funny thing is he struck out the side. He turned around, he struck out Simmons, Cronin, gave up a single, and turned around and struck out the next guy. He's pitched 2 innings.
I did read something about that one. Yeah.
He pitched 2 innings, struck out 6 people, and gave up 1 hit.
Yeah. So that was a good one. I mean, we got 2. Like I said, there's a lot of all-star moments.
I could have went Bo Jackson, and I was like, that really.
I was thinking the Bo Jackson home run to lead off the bottom of the first because,
and he did it on an 0-2 pitch.
Yeah, and the thing is it's so iconic because it was either before the All-Star break or right after the series. He did the exact same thing in Anaheim, California at the time, in the same spot, almost.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that's why it was so iconic.
Yeah.
So I almost threw that one up there. So let's go to All-Star cities. Now, I don't know which way you win if you just went. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see what we get. If you go the way I think you win, we'll probably get 3. So.
Yeah, we go 3, maybe 4.
All right. So you go ahead and start with number 5.
I want to hear you've got I'm guessing you have a curveball or 2. I know I've got one.
I don't know if it's really a curveball, but it all depends on how we went about it. So
I'll tell you exactly the way I went.
Okay.
I went with All-Star cities with average attendance.
Ooh. Okay. We'll probably have some of the same ones up there.
We should have some of the same ones.
But yeah, my number 5 is going to be a curveball then if you went that way.
My number 5, with 47,841 people for average attendance, I believe there was only
That's
2.
more than Oakland A's get in a year now.
Yeah, for people who are now part of the Las Vegas Athletics fans, that's they probably averaged that, and I think 47,000 is what their average salary of their outfield.
Yeah.
And it's funny that we brought up the Oakland Athletics because this is basically my number 5 is Philadelphia. 47,000. You figured they should be a little higher on this list considering my 2 curveballs are amazing.
Well, yeah, so I went kind of the opposite way with more all-star games, I guess, in the city. So my number 5, and I know somebody's going to say, well, so-and-so city had more, but I went the homer route. I went Minnesota with 3 all-star appearances. So you're number 4.
Oh, you're going to love to hear these words. It's not C2C unless somebody's sniping somebody else.
Really?
And this is
Drew,
my number 4. My number 4 with 48,004 people is Minneapolis.
Wow. I didn't think the Dome or Target Field held that many people. But I know they pack them in there. So, yeah, I wish I had the time off. I would have went to – if I remember,
I went to Wikipedia.
The 85 All-Star game.
I wanted to go to the Milwaukee one in 99, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Where was I in 99?
So my number 4, we brought it up with Ted Williams, and that's the Boston Red Sox. Fenway Park had 4. You're number 3.
My number 3. It's kind of funny because I think they've had. This team is on your list too. I think this city's on your list too. I think they've had 3, I believe, but with an average attendance of 52,215, it's Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta
Nope.
didn't make my list. Nope.
Oh Lord.
My number 3 is a city that had 6 of them, and that's the Cleveland Indians.
Oh, I figured that'd be my curveball.
Oh, all right. You're number 2.
My number 2 is your number 3 with 56,245. That's Cleveland.
Yeah, they could pack that in there in that stadium.
Yeah, they because that's the only time they actually have anybody good come to Cleveland is during the All-Star games. So in order for them
that's what Oakland needs to do is start hosting All-Star games.
They should be hosting All-Star games every year just so they could have what it looks like to have a $200 million roster on each side.
Yeah. My number 3, and I'm going to assume that
you're number 2.
I'm sorry, my number 2. I'm going to assume it meant both cities because I don't think one stadium can hold that many All-Star games, but that's Chicago with 7. You're number 2. No, number 1.
My number 1. The funny thing is, I saw Chicago. And when I looked it up on Wikipedia, it was both stadiums.
Yep.
And the funny thing is, it's crazy because they don't pack the people in Chicago for All-Star games. They didn't.
Well, no, because Wrigley they just let them sit outside, just like Boston. They sat outside,
right?
Pitching home,
right up in, and it's weird, but yeah, Chicago's not on my list.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, everybody's gonna. I know. J Max can look at me going, well, why didn't you add Anaheim to my number 5, my number 1? Because it's Anaheim. Not Los Angeles. And, I don't care if it's the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles. I could care less. It's Anaheim. But my number 1 is Los Angeles. Yeah, great. Thanks.
I'm with you, Teresa. I was shocked, too, when he first popped on. So
great. Thanks.
So you went Los Angeles. Okay.
Los Angeles with 56,570.
Which is kind of surprising because I thought my number 1 could pack them in, especially in their new stadium. And that's New York with a total of 9 All-Star games.
I looked at it and they average.
But New Yankee Stadium,
even if you consider Brooklyn, when the Mets were there, when the Dodgers were there, when the Yankees are there, they still only pack in. I think it was like an average of 38,000 people. And it was like, well, then again, the Ebbets Field Polo Grounds didn't hold that many people to begin with, but it kind of hurts the numbers.
Yeah.
That's why Chicago wasn't in there.
Yeah. Well, Wrigley Field is going to hold less no matter
Wrigley
what.
Field holds, what is it? Wrigley Field holds, I think, even right now, I think Wrigley Field only holds like 18,000, 19,000, maybe 20,000 people.
All right, so we got 2 categories left. Let's go with All-Star MVPs. This one's going to be interesting because, granted, each All-Star game has MVP, so it'll be interesting to see which way you went compared to what I went. I'll admit I lumped a couple together. So
if let's just say if I lumped them together, I'd have 4 at number 1 and then like 4 others.
So we'll see. I mean, we should have at least 3 names on there. I mean, if we call it lumping together. So
I think so.
All right. So I'm going to pull the homer card right away. Number 5,
Cool.
1993, Kirby Puckett. I got to put him on my list. I think he homered that game. I think it was in Baltimore too, as a matter of fact. So you're number 5.
I'm going to pull my homer card too. Because I figured because everybody else 1 through 4 had 2 MVPs. So my number 5 is my homer pick. And that's Prince Fielder.
All right. Well, I know. I got a curveball. Then if you,
I think that was 2011. That was 2011.
Yep. So my first, I guess I lumped them together, but it's the same guy. Won back-to-back, 14 and 15. So considered the face of baseball. I kind of question it a little bit. I can hear the arguments and I can agree and disagree with them. That's Mike
Stan
Trout.
Musial? Like Stan Musial?
Yeah.
Wait, Mike Trout won 2?
Well, back to back. I'm
I
almost
need to
positive.
I need to start talking to Wikipedia because Wikipedia only had him with 1.
Let me see. Anyways, go with your number 4.
My number 4 won it with 2 different teams. Won it as an Expo and won as a. I'm going to be right on this. He won it as an Expo and he won it as a Met. To me, probably the greatest Expo catcher the Expos ever had. I don't care that they went and played as they're now the national. They're the Nationals. I don't care. To me, the Montreal Expos are their own entity, and that's Gary Carter.
Okay. Yes, Mike Trout did win it back-to-back years, 2014 and 15, and that's on Wikipedia.
Son of a biscuit. Then Prince Fielder would have never been on my list.
And you said Gary Carter what?
He had won it twice.
Yeah, he won it twice with the Expos.
Oh, he won it twice with the Expos. Well, he's still the best Expo catcher ever.
Yep. No, I totally agree with you on that.
I thought he won one as a Met. He didn't win one in 80. What, he won in 83, didn't he? 81.
He won 84 and 81.
81. Yeah, okay. 84. He was with the Expos. The Expos the following year he went to the Mets.
Yeah. So my number 3 is and I'm pretty sure this is the only brother combo to win MVP in 97 and 98.
You did double up. Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Well, I doubled up on my top 3 here. So actually, yeah. The first brother combo to win it, Roberto and Sandy Alomar.
I didn't go that way. I
3.
saw them, and I should have went that way.
Yeah, you're number 3.
My number 3. Oh, I can't even remember if he won it as a Padre or as a Dodger. I want to say he won it as a. Now you're going to tell me he won it as both. Because I know you're on Wikipedia right now.
I am on Wikipedia right now.
You're looking at All-Star MVPs, and
yep.
And to me, my number 3, I love watching this guy. Back growing up, I love watching this guy, and I know he went both as a Dodger and as a Padre, but I can't remember if he won as both as a Dodger, or both as a Padre, or one of each. And that's Steve Garvey.
Steve Garvey won it as a Dodger.
Okay, both of them.
I only see one here.
Mother loving.
Oh no, he did win it twice. Okay,
I'm not changing it. Just
no, he won it both as a Dodger.
okay.
Yeah, in 74 and 78.
Yep.
All right. So my number and only this is the first and only father-son duel to win it, and that's Griffey Senior in 1980, and then Griffey Jr. In 92. So 12 years difference, if my math is correct. So I got Griffey Senior, Jr. winning it at my number 2. Your number 1, or your number 2. I'm sorry.
My number 2. We talked about him. Matter of fact, you talked to him earlier about in your All-Star moments back in 2001 when A-Rod was selected to play shortstop. Now I know I'm right on this because he's only been elected to the All-Star game as a Baltimore Oriole. But you know the guy, and we talked about him earlier about with Lou Gehrig and all that, and then all the other fun stuff. But that's Cal Ripken Jr.
Oh, yeah, won in 91 and 2001.
2001.
Yep. My number 1 is half of your number 2 because I do have Ripken on there, and I also have the first guy to ever win. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't the first guy to win two, and that's Willie Mays. Willie Mays and Cal Ripken. Don't ask why I really lumped them together. At first, it was because I thought they were the only 2 to win it. Then I did more research, but so you're number 1.
My number 1 is one half of your number 1 because my other half is at number 2, and that's Willie Mays. Probably, arguably, the greatest baseball player to ever lace up his boots, shoes, gloves, whatever. I absolutely believe 100% that Willie Mays is probably the best there ever was.
Yeah, that's another debate that a lot of people are taking. I mean, you're not wrong. You know, some people say you are, but you're never wrong in your.
I don't care. And as we say, opinions. People got opinions, and sometimes they're wrong. Guess what?
Exactly.
Not this time.
So let's move into home run derby moments. Of course, last night was a home run derby. If you guys didn't see it, go watch it on ESPN all week long because they'll replay it like 600 times, and you'll be bored after the first pitch. So, all right, you're number 5.
How many do you think you got in this one?
Ah, man. I'll go 2. Yeah, I'll go 2.
Yeah, I was thinking 2, but I might not buy. I think one of my 2 are going to be your homer pick. One is going to be a homer pick.
No, I don't have a homer pick on this one.
Are you okay?
1, because I forgot he won the home run contest, and 2, I wasn't really thinking that there was a twin that won the home run contest. So.
And here's the funny thing is, you probably think your curveball is my homer pick, and I don't have a homer pick either.
No, I mean, no, my homer picks are. I got a partial homer pick at number 5.
Partial.
So go ahead with your number 5.
Was it because it was in Minnesota? Is that why it was a partial homer pick? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my number 5 isn't part of your partial homer pick. My number 5 happened in 2015. Matter of fact, backstage we were talking about it about father sons and stuff like that, and I was wrong. That's fine. I can deal with that. I've got 2015 in Cincinnati. I've got Frazier winning at home on the last ball at extra time.
Yeah, that was a good. That was a good one. But yeah, if you guys are just kind of alluded to what we're talking about, I recall one of the. It's not on my list because I couldn't remember who did it. Well, we found out who it was, but it was Robinson Cano when he won it. His dad throws up the balls as he hits it. I I don't know why it stuck out to me, but I couldn't remember who did it. But my number 5, we're going to go back to 1985 in the first home run contest, which, like I said earlier, I believe I was actually at this one with my uncle taking me there because I remember getting a little pin. And that was when Dave Parker won the first home run contest at the Metrodome.
You were there.
I'm like 99% positive. If I can find that stupid pin, confirm it. Because I know I was there when there was a lot of people there. And back then, the Twins didn't draw too many people. So,
that was right after the opening of the Met?
Yeah, a year after, I think.
A couple years after.
Yeah. All right, you're number 4.
I'm going to go all the way back to the great year of 2017.
Oh, you went way back.
Yeah, way back. I took the way back machine with Peabody, and
yeah,
I did. And that's Aaron Judge winning as a rookie.
Yeah,
that kid's done nothing but shown power ever since.
And I'll tell you, as much as I don't like the Yankees, if that kid ever comes up that he was on PhDs, I'll be shocked because that guy's been huge.
Yeah,
I've been huge since day one. I'm sorry. Speaking of Aaron Judge, have you seen the photo that's floating around of him and a picture of him and Aaron Gordon back to back? They look almost alike.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you have to Google it. Basketball star Aaron Gordon and Judd. My number 4, I put on the list because it literally just happened yesterday. But the first father-son duel to win home run derby, Glad Sr. wins it, and then his son just won it last night. So number 4, them two winning it as father-son duel, and that would have been 2007 was when Senior won it. So you're number 3.
You know me. I'm the guy that likes to do history stuff and everything we do. So I'm going to go back to ancient history of 2016.
All right.
Deep, way back deep. To a guy who ended up playing for the Italian national team when it came to the Olympics or the World Baseball Classic. But he at this time I still think he was with the Miami Marlins. And that's Giancarlo Stanton hitting 20 in the finals.
Yeah,
which now seems average.
Yankees got 2 big studs right there. Another guy too that if it comes out that he's not PhDs, I'll be shocked. So, my number 3, he did not win it this year, but he did something that I don't think anybody's done in Baltimore, and that's put one out that warehouse building, and that's Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, they actually. It was funny because I think I was watching a little bit ESPN, and they were talking about there's actually a plaque on where he hit it.
Yep. And the thing is if they did it in a game, the warehouse was a car manufacturer, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was something, yeah. And nobody came close, and Griffey was the first one to do it in the All-Star Game home run derby. So I don't know if he got rewarded for that or not. But all right, you're number 2.
My number 2.
3 for you. Did I start? Yeah.
Yeah, we're at number 2 because I did Frazier, Judge, and then Stanton. We're good.
Okay.
We're at 2.
All right.
Again, we're hitting that way back machine, way back to all of 10 years ago at Citi Field, and I've got Orlando Cespedes winning after hitting 17 in the first round.
Okay.
I think that was the first one of his. I think that was the first one of his 2.
Yep. I'm going to go way back because, one, I like this hitter's swing, and when it came to goofing around and stuff, he always wore his hat backwards and showed that it was all about the fans. And again, it's Ken Griffey Jr. He's the only one to win 3 of them, and he's won 2 back-to-back. So I go Ken Griffey Jr. at number 2. You're number 1.
All right. I alluded to this at the beginning of this one. It should have been your homer pick, which is kind of upsetting now.
Yeah.
I'm going all the way back to the great year of 2008. Josh Hamilton hitting 28 home runs in the first round and still finding a way to lose to Justin Morneau.
Yeah. Like I said, it just slipped my mind. I knew he was in it. I think him, Kadire, maybe Molitor, Dozier. Or not
Molitor,
Molitor.
Dozier. No.
Dozier, Morneau, Kadire, I think were the 3
Puckett's been in one. I think Puckett's been in one.
It might have been early. But
I know Milwaukee's had like 6 or 7.
Yeah. But my number 1, I'm going to go back in the time machine a little bit. And I think it was one of the years Griffey won it. It was just right after the strike season. And that was the battle of Sammy Sosa McGuire. That's all they hyped up. And I think it was at Fenway Park, too. They just hyped up those 2 as being the stars, and Griffey ended up winning. So, but the hype up, Sosa McGuire just hitting bombs out of Fenway Park. So,
well, the funny thing is the one that Griffey won. I think it was the last one that Griffey won. He wasn't going to do it. He wasn't going to do it.
Yep.
And then says, "Forget it, I'll do it anyway," and then wins it.
Yeah. So I'd like to see now that pitchers can hit or can't hit. I guess I don't know. I'd like to see some pitchers try to do a home run derby outside of Ohtani. Let's take Ohtani
outside of Ohtani, maybe Babe Ruth. Do you know who holds the record for most home runs as a pitcher?
Well, it's got to be Ohtani now.
It might be. I think it might be now, but I remember when it was Warren Spahn.
Yeah.
For the longest time, and
I remember some of the pitchers that used to be able to hit, like Doc Gooden.
Gooden used to hit.
CC Sabathia used to be able to hit pretty good. Bumgarner.
There was that pitcher. There was that Rick Ankiel. Rick Ankiel used to be an outfielder, but then he ended up becoming Then there was a.
No, Rick Ankiel was a pitcher that became an outfielder.
He became an outfielder. That's what it was. There was what is it? There was a Brewer who was an outfielder that became a pitcher. Who else could hit? There was a couple. There was a couple that could hit because they hit in high school or they hit in college. Why I keep wanting to think? I think David Price could hit because I think Price he hit when he was at Vanderbilt. He hit because I know
that's the thing. Everybody talk about how they could change the All-Star game. It's like let the pitchers have a home run derby. Outside of Ohtani, but.
We're gonna do that. Let there be a designated pitcher from the that plays like in the field and let the pitchers hit.
So, all right. So that was our little mega show today. Hour and a half ish. So, Tim, you got final thoughts?
I like doing these. We should do that. And I'm not. If J-Mac's listening, this is just me spitballing. We should try to do it. We should try to do a mega show like once a month.
Yeah, we can think about something. So, because I know we do specials all the time. We got Chris's annual draft coverage, and
which I showed up for.
You guys did an excellent job.
So, that was a hell of a night because I shouldn't have stayed up that long.
So with that being said, keep checking out C2C. You'll see myself and Tim this weekend, Saturday on deck. Morning Tailgate's gonna be doing a season premiere here, probably end of July, early October. Once preseason,
early October
or early August
starts in September. Yeah, just so you know, we're gonna phone it in until week 4 of the NFL season.
Yeah.
So if you're expecting us to be there,
we'll start getting our predictions out there.
Forget it. We're not going to be there.
Yeah. So August we'll start getting our predictions together and see how we do with myself, Chris Bacon, Tim, mess around and maybe we have a new person this year. Who knows? But if you guys haven't been watching C2C this week, Thursday, I believe we're doing a tribute to one of our fellow colleagues, Vic, passed away within the last week. She was a key member of our Sports Minute team. So myself, J-Mac, Adam, Chris will be paying tribute to her on Wednesday. Got Between the Ropes tonight. We'll recap Money in the Bank and what's all going on in wrestling. Outside of that, keep checking out C2C, and we'll see you next week on C2C Rankem. Have a good one.